Hello everybody, how are you doing? Welcome back to Man City Unplugged, your very own Man City fan channel. I hope you had a great weekend and you're already having a rocking Monday. And we have some very interesting piece of news. The news came in yesterday evening sort of a thing, that two top Premier League clubs are interested in a Barcelona midfielder who Xavi rates highly, but due to Barca's financial problems, they're not able to, get him to renew the contract and pay his wages and stuff. And the name is Gavi, and the transfer price mentioned for Gavi is around 42 million pounds. And I think his wages are also not much, 80,000 pounds or 100,000 pounds per week. And we know that obviously Barcelona are not even able to pay that wages. Their captains themselves have taken a wage cut, and news has come in the last few days that your Busquets, PK, I mean, Barca should pay them almost 100 million. Not $100 million. Barca should pay them almost $10 million in pending wages and stuff like that. So Barca are obviously in financial turmoil, and Gavi could be, and they could be selling Gavi actually if we went for it, if we went and tested the waters with 45 million pound bid or even a 35 million pound bid. Barca could offload Gavi actually, especially because they need to reduce the wages. They need to, I mean, they need to get in players to take wage cuts, and people at Barca are right now skeptical of taking those wage cuts, because for how many years will they take the wage cuts? So and an interesting thing about Gavi is almost he's just 17 years old and is a very good box to box midfielder. When I see Gavi at 17, 18, you remember Bernardo Silva when he started playing in that box to box role for City. Gavi has the same kind of creativity, but also he has that stamina. Not as much as Bernardo Silva, but he has that stamina close to Bernardo Silva in terms of running up and down, playing that box to box role, and all of those things. That is very rare. It is very rare to see a midfielder having both of those qualities. Because, I mean, Yaya Toure was an example in the previous days, but Yaya Toure was not good defensively. He had exceptional feet, exceptional creativity. People expected Pogba to be that sort of an ilk of a player with good defensive nous, and Pogba failed at that. Pogba also loved attacking like Yaya Toure, and defensively he was worse than Yaya Toure, I would say. But Gavi here again, you don't get those sort of a players as often. They're not on the market as often. Bernardo Silva's, your Gavis, with they're having exceptional defensive ability. They can run back, that engine, that stamina of a Nigel de Jong, stamina of a Makalili, those sort of engines. And going forward, the creativity is next to none. You could as well play them as a cam and things like that. So that is Gavi. In the open market, Gavi's price could be, I mean, if Barca were not in any financial troubles, Gavi's price could be at least 80 million pounds because he's so young. People are saying Jude Bellingham, but I rate Gavi much more highly than Jude Bellingham. Just because of his, I do not know if Jude Bellingham has the same engine and sort of a things as Gavi, but I'm very sure that Gavi will, if he comes into the Premier League, he will just have be up and running. But a player who was up and running, having come from Barcelona into the Premier League, is Eric Garcia. You can just see the pictures on your screen. Eric Garcia and Gavi. I mean, people take an year or so to settle into Pep's system, whoever they might be. Most of the players, yes, you have some exceptions, takes an year and or so, and then you hit the ground running. But Eric Garcia was just 17, 18 when he came to City, and within 6 months he was in the first team squad. Pep trusted him so much, even at that age, even with such less experience, especially for a centre back. I mean, centre backs don't get into their prime till we are 27 and 28, and for an 18-year-old in Eric Garcia to have that composure, that is the strength of La Masia. That's the power of La Masia. So, I mean, but the problem with this is why I've compared Gavi to Eric Garcia is, the problem is, youth products, especially products who come from Barcelona's academy, products who come from Real Madrid's academy, mostly from Barcelona's academy, they want to go back to their home club as soon as an opening opens there. That's what Eric Garcia did. Because we were paying Eric Garcia good wages, he was starting. Eric Garcia was almost starting many games in a Pep Guardiola system. Nathan Ake, season centre back, has not been able to get many games. Sometimes you see Ruben Diaz sitting out. And when people were fit as well in those seasons, Eric Garcia was still starting few games day in and day out. Pep trusted him so much. Pep even made him captain in one of the Carabao Cup games for a while. At the end of the game, but these players, what we have seen is these players tend to want to go back to their homegrown clubs, to their academies. Ferran Torres, not a homegrown player, but he's gone back to Spain. It's something like that. And why can't it repeat in Gavi's case? That is my question here. It could very well repeat in Gavi's case. And what I don't want to see is now Gavi comes, right? And Gavi occupies one midfield spot in case Gavi comes. And he's just 17. He'll play here 2 years, and then he will leave for Barca. I have no doubt about it. He will leave for Barca because that is a homegrown club. Then Barca's finances, if they're good and all. So in these 2 years, Gavi is getting the exposure at a top level and is training under a top level coach like Pep Guardiola, playing in the elite competitions, playing around world class players, Haaland, De Bruyne, Rodri, Bernardo Silva and all, and is going back to Barca with all that experience. Then what will happen to our young players in James McAtee? What will happen to our young players like Oscar Pop, Tommy Doyle, even a Cole Palmer, I would say? What will happen to the aspirations of Pep trying to give Phil Foden more exposure in the midfield? So that is the question here. That is why when this news came, because 40 million pounds is cheap. You could even pay 50 million pounds for Gavi because 17 years, this guy is so talented. He'll take any league by storm. This guy will be one of the best box to box midfielder in the world, or creative midfielder in the world. He'll be among the best in the next 5 6 years, Gavi. But this is the problem. I do not want us to bring another youth player and make someone like James McAtee feel insecure. I do not want to make our entire youth setup feel insecure because of these things. Because literally you're snatching away a place from a player who has grown beyond the Premier League 2, who has grown beyond EDS, right? In James McAtee, in 23 games, he has 17 goals and almost 8 9 assists, somewhere like that. His numbers are insane, James McAtee. So, how can you snatch the place from him and bring in someone like a Gavi or whoever it might be from the La Masia Academy? So that is my big concern, and that could be a mistake. It wasn't a mistake in case of Eric Garcia because then we didn't have centre backs breaking into our first team squad, and it was literally vacant. We didn't have Ake there, and Garcia was our third choice centre back, sometimes fourth. So there was space. But right now, with the signing of Gavi, I know Pep Guardiola is interested. Siki Bagaristan, Ferran Soriano with the Spanish connections, they could be interested. And he's from La Masia club, so you would be imbibed in Pep Guardiola's principles, right? But still, when an area is packed, and the last weeks all we have done is we have spent our time discussing how our youth setup can challenge the likes of La Masia. How can we avoid a Ferran Torres? How can we avoid an Eric Garcia again? How can we respect the pull of this uh, clubs like Barcelona and Real Madrid? And we have discussed how we need to develop the youth setup and all, and bringing in Gavi would just refute all of those claims. It would just mean that we would almost stop the development of our academy by at least 2 3 years. So we need to maintain that flow, that supply chain of the youth products, Foden, McAtee, Cole Palmer. We need to maintain the supply chain. We cannot bring any of the players who will come into challenge them and take their position. So that's why I think I do not want Gavi here. Might be Gavi could be a good signing for Liverpool. He could be a good backup to Jordan Henderson, to Thiago, who is injury prone. Jordan Henderson is over 30. Thiago is already over 30, I think, even before the last season started. So this signing, they have to replace Wijnaldum, who's almost a box-to-box player. They need creativity in the midfield. So Gavi could suit Liverpool much more than it would suit us. It's not it's not that Liverpool are strengthening while we are weakening. No, we are not weakening at all by not signing Gavi or by signing Gavi. We are already strong in that midfield area. You look at our midfield: Rodri, Bernardo Silva, De Bruyne, potentially Jack Grealish could play there, and then you have Phil Foden who could come in here. You have James McAtee waiting from the youth setup. You have someone like an Oscar Bob who's ready to break in. So we are not weak in that position as well. So I would really be dead against bringing Gavi into the squad. It would. I do not want us to do anything in this transfer window that would put our youth development back. I've said that by 2028, 29, at least by the end of this decade almost, I want to see youth. Uh, I want to see most of our team being filled with youth products. I almost want to see another class of 99, which has never been done after that Alex Ferguson's class of 99. Again, I want to see such a youth setup breaking into the first team. So, and to do that, we will have to give up on the. I would not even say give up. We're not giving up on Gavi. Come on, but we would have to make sure that we don't go for such tempting signings like this. Gavi, 42 million pounds. The opponent is vulnerable in Barcelona. Shall we sign him? No. It would make you'd sort of question themselves. It would even dent a confidence. Suddenly, James McAtee is thinking, it's not enough. Is it not enough for me to compete with Bernardo Silva? Is it not enough for me to compete with Rodri, De Bruyne, all of these Ford and Grealish? Should I have to even now compete with Gavi, who's younger than me as well at 17 years. We should not do anything that makes a player feel insecure. Competition is different, but making someone feel insecure is different. And that feeling of insecurity, they could creep into our entire youth setup if you're not careful with this. Eric Garcia was different, but Gavi will have a much more profound impact because he is gonna come into this team. He's gonna take the place of James McAtee on the bench as well. So it could just be almost, I would say, ruining James McAtee's confidence. Because Gavi will not come here after having started so many matches for Barcelona. He'll not come here to sit on the bench, right? To warm the bench or playing the EDS under 23s and all of that, right? He would want to be a starter. Those are the assurances he would want if he wants to come to City. So no to this signing of Gavi at all. It's just a irrefutable no from all of the City community, I would think. Let me know in the comments below what do you think of this. Would you want Gavi at City? Wonderful player, but then we'll have to consider the circumstances around it as well. To consider what we are losing by bringing in a player as well, and how is it going to impact the entire team, because City is not about one player. Real Madrid, you know Benzema. PSG, Mbappe. Okay, Neymar, but he doesn't play. Nowadays, even Barcelona, you just have one or two players out there, Pedri and all. But City, there's so many players. The City is about a team spirit. City is about the whole and not a part of it. And we never make anyone who's part of this family, part of this group, feel insecure or feel vulnerable. No, that is not what City is. We are much more greater than that, and that's why no to the signing of Gavi. And another interesting piece of news is about Calvin Phillips. News is just coming in. I think it's just an hour back that news is coming in from. It's been quoted that the news is coming in from a City source. It's come on Football Insider. I think the Football Insider says that it's coming from a City source that since that City have formally submitted a bid for Calvin Phillips. They didn't mention how much the bid is about, but I'm thinking it is between 35 to 40 pounds. And also the report claims that Calvin Phillips could be our next signing. I do believe that the way negotiations are going right now. Yes, we had a chat about this I think 2 days back regarding Matthews Nunes, Calvin Phillips, Enzo Fernandez, and personally I was in favor of someone like a Matthews Nunes, right? And we had a long discussion as well. There were people giving their wonderful opinions in the chat as well, and people wanted Jude Bellingham, people wanted us to wait, and people were happy with Calvin Phillips. A lot of different opinions, and I think the the two of them, Matthews, Nunes, Calvin Phillips. There are little bit variables. The reason that was the reason why I wanted Matthews, Nunes, but Calvin Phillips also could be, yeah, also could be wonderful, because the plus with Calvin Phillips is he knows the league. He's played under Marcelo Bielsa, so he knows how to hold a midfield in an absolutely chaotic system. Marcelo Bielsa, when his forwards or when his team bombs forward, everyone goes forward. I mean, even at least at City, you have two three players waiting back, and then everyone bombs forward. You have at least a fullback like Walker tucking in, but it leads everyone bombs forward, and Phillips has to hold the midfield on his own. So if you're getting Phillips around about that 40 million, 45 million pounds, I think take it. 23 years of age, Calvin Phillips, and he can hold a midfield on his own. Though I have doubt, I have a little bit doubts sometimes about his positional sense and passing and things like that. That's why I think the passing of Matthews Nunes is better than Calvin Phillips, but then I think defensively Calvin Phillips is better than Matthews Nunes. So it's fine either one. You get some qualities in Nunes and you get some qualities in Phillips. But the news is that we've submitted formal bid for Calvin Phillips, and I think that by the end of this weekend or early next week, I think we should see much more advanced news on this, and I think we'll sign Calvin Phillips in the next 2 weeks or so, in the next 2 3 weeks. So Calvin Phillips is another thing done. So the transfer window is going smoothly. My only this thing was about reservation was about Gavi, and why I did not want him, and I wanted to share it with all you guys. And another thing is about Bernardo Silva. I do not want Bernardo Silva leaving. Apart from that, I think our business is almost done in the transfer window. This might seem weird, and you might be telling, already your business is done. The window is just open, but we've got Haaland, and now there's a death of strikers, and we are getting Calvin Phillips. I think Cucurella will be the last signing for us. Will complete Cucurella by the end of this month or early next month, I think. And that's it. We should be ready for the preseason. The preseason starts at the end of July, I think, July last week. So it's going very smoothly. It's going very well, and it's to be fair, it's going very well for Liverpool as well. They seem to be our closest opponents this season. Although I don't discount Chelsea, I don't discount Spurs and Arsenal as well. Arsenal might not come all the way in the title race, but Arsenal do have some good pedigree. But Spurs, my God, because you've seen in the second half of the season, especially when Antonio Conte had his imprint on Spurs, how good Spurs can be. A well drilled Antonio Conte team with Kane, Son, Kulusevski, and they'll sign one or two players with Perisic, but he's old now. So Son, Kane, Kulusevski, and that running, and wow, it on the counter attack, the speed on the counter attacks. I mean, it could just be a nightmare to play against. Both City and Liverpool. I think we lost 2 games against Spurs. Okay, one game we lost against Antonio Conte, and Liverpool drew both games against Spurs. So Spurs is going to be difficult. Spurs defeated Arsenal in the second half of the season. I think Spurs defeated Chelsea, or they drew with Chelsea. I don't remember. I think Spurs defeated Man United the second half of the season. I don't remember that result as well. So Antonio Conte Spurs, many people are discounting them, and that will be good. So this season is going to be very exciting, but I'm glad that we have done the signing of Erling Haaland, because if we hadn't moved early, I'm sure Haaland would not have come to us. I'm pretty sure of that, especially with the bidding wars for strikers going on. Now there's a dearth of strikers. There's no striker at all, right? Good strikers available at the right price right now in the world. I mean, forget the price. Where are the good strikers? There aren't many good strikers around. So I'm glad we have been the first movers in this window, and we are just proving again how well run we are from the bottom to the top. Anyways, guys, I really hope you have enjoyed the show. If you have enjoyed the show, please click on the bell icon and also the subscribe button so that you get notifications whenever come up with new videos, and we'll be there every day at this time, just to have a chat about the news of the day. I mean, not the news of the day. I mean, that would be more like a news channel ish, right? We're not a news channel. We are a fan channel where we discuss opinions and all of that. So I'll be back every day at this time, so we can discuss our opinions about what has happened throughout the day, or anything related to city, or the transfer, or the player which city should go for. It could be anything related to city. And also do click on the like button if you have enjoyed the video, by the way. And thank you so much, guys, for joining me, and see you all, and take care.